Number 8. Orcas. There's a reason orcas are commonly known as killer whales. These watery beasts are part of the dolphin family and can be found living practically all over the world. Orcas have incredibly long lifetimes, with females sometimes living longer than most humans, up to 100 years. Males, on the other hand, have shorter lifespans and only live for about 60 years. What the males lack in lifespan, they make up in weight. The adult typically weighs nearly 6 tons, and the females only clock in at 3 tons at the maximum. The distinct black and white coloring adds to the allure of an orca. They truly look and behave like ninjas in the water. While hunting, groups of up to 40 killer whales at a time employ intelligent hunting tactics when picking out their prey. Similarly to bats and other sea creatures, orcas create clicking noises and are experts at echolocation, which helps them identify their victims. In August of 2022, Esther Storkson was woken up by violent jolts while on her father's yacht off the coast of France. When she went on deck to see what the commotion was about, she immediately noticed multiple orcas in the water surrounding the boat on all sides. The beasts repeatedly rammed into the yacht as if it was a coordinated attack. Esther and her dad could only hope for the best as they waited out the fury. At one point, the entire ship was rotated a full 180 degrees. Those orcas must have had some pretty thick noggins and an insane vendetta to do what they did. After waiting in terror for 15 minutes, the killer whales stopped their assault on the yacht. Once they felt the coast was clear, they dipped a camera underwater to see what kind of damage was done by the orcas. A majority of the ship's rudder had been broken off, and several areas of metal were severely bent. Thankfully, this was a rare event. While orcas are deadly predators in most contexts of nature, there hasn't been a single recorded incident of a killer whale taking the life of a human in the wild. Those in captivity have been known to lash out though. Scientists aren't really sure why the orcas attacked Storkson's yacht, but there are some theories. One suggests that the nautical mammals simply like it when water pressure from a ship's propeller hits them. If they see a boat that isn't running its propeller, they get a little frustrated and might attack. Since the Storksons were idling in the water, it's likely the orcas just wanted them to turn on the propeller. But what do you think? Number 7. Buffaloes. Despite their cuddly appearance, buffaloes are often very dangerous. An adult male can weigh well over 2,000 pounds while reaching heights of 6 feet tall. Female buffaloes, while not as large as their counterparts, can still be upwards of 1,000 pounds at 5 or so feet high. With that much weight, you'd think they'd move fairly slowly, but surprisingly, they can run at over 35 miles an hour and are quick swimmers as well. With that movement speed and sheer mass, it's no wonder why buffaloes are dangerous. Luckily for us in nature, their diet mainly sticks to plants. However, they have been known to attack humans in the past. In the summer of 2018, during a wildlife safari tour in Zambia, a group of people encountered an angry buffalo. The massive creature stood straight in front of the tour's jeep and rammed its sharp horns into the front of the vehicle. According to reports of the incident, the animal already had some injuries. The photographer who captured the attack believes this may have been why it was so aggressive and easily provoked. This particular type of buffalo lives in Africa and some regions of Southern Asia, and their lifespan is about 20 years. Its horns have been known to grow several feet long at times. Luckily in this case, they were much shorter. Thankfully, no one on the Jeep was injured during the buffalo's rams, and the mammal is now being taken care of by a local wildlife organization. Number 6. Rhinos. As one of the biggest predators on our list, rhinos can weigh over 7,700 pounds. Considering these beasts pretty much only eat grass and some leaves now and then, that's very impressive. Their trademark horns can also grow up to 7 centimeters per year, with the record coming in at almost 5 feet long. You'd think rhinos would rely on these horns to defend themselves, but more often than not, when faced with danger, they use their teeth instead. India's Kaziranga National Park houses all kinds of wildlife like elephants, dolphins, tigers, and it's been named as the #1 place to find one-horned rhinos. In March 2020, 2 employees of the park were patrolling a small portion of the Komodo range when things quickly went south. Bikura Bora and Anil Kalita were targeted by a giant rhino. Unfortunately, Bora wouldn't survive the attack and died at the scene. Kalita, on the other hand, made it away from the animal with just a few injuries. This attack was just one of many in this park and around the world. According to Kaziranga's assistant conservator of forest, Retubiban Bora, 11 deaths have resulted from rhino attacks since 1992 alone, with over 65 injured. While the massive animals don't typically go after humans, they will react if approached or threatened. Rhino horns are a sought-after commodity for poachers, so it's very likely more rhinos and humans will be killed in upcoming years. Number 5. Polar bears. 1,100-pound giant icy mammals roam the Arctic plains and scour the nearby seas for food. Polar bears mainly eat seals, but also partake in smaller prey if the circumstances call for it. For the most part, they don't do much other than hunt. They're very strong swimmers, with the longest stretch of time a polar bear has spent in the water totaling over 9 days. The bear traveled 426 miles. Their lifespans range anywhere from 15 years in the wild to a record 45 years in captivity. Surprisingly, despite what most people think, polar bears are actually black. The Arctic predators grow white fur coats to camouflage into their environment and to stay warm amid below freezing temperatures. However, underneath all the fluff, they look quite unsettling with wrinkled black skin similar to a hairless cat. On July 24, 2013, a man named Matt Dyer was hiking with a group of 7 people at Canada's Torngat Mountains National Park. They stopped on their journey to rest when suddenly, Matt was yanked out of his tent by a massive polar bear. The creature proceeded to maul the helpless man until other members of the group reacted to the attack. They set off flares to scare the bear away, and luckily, their plan worked. There was a doctor amongst the hikers who quickly attended to Dyer's wounds and broken bones. Once he was relatively stabilized, a helicopter picked Matt up and took him to a proper medical facility. In the assault, the polar bear cracked Dyer's vertebrae, causing a collapsed lung and more. On top of all this, the man's mobility and speech were also partially affected. Even though Arctic bears seem nice on Coca-Cola ads wearing peaceful red scarves, if you ever find yourself face to face with one in a wild setting, you should definitely say a prayer. Would you rather encounter a polar bear or a hippo in the wild? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Number 4. Hippos. Hippos are one of the most dangerous animals in the world. They're mainly indigenous to Africa and parts of Colombia and can grow to weigh over 3,500 pounds. Similarly to buffalo, these creatures are herbivores and can be very fast. Some can run up to 30 miles an hour, and they can grow to be 18 feet long. Hippos are commonly found resting in water such as lakes, rivers, or streams. By staying close to these areas, they can keep cool in the mud and avoid getting sunburns. It's estimated that nearly 500 people die from hippo attacks every year on the African continent. In 1996, while leading a canoe tour in Zimbabwe, Paul Templer came face to face with a terrifying hippo. His group was getting close to Victoria Falls on the Zambezi River when suddenly, one of the members was knocked out of their canoe. In an attempt to help his friend, Paul tried to make his way over to them, but then he saw something in the corner of his eye. A massive hippo was barreling towards him at an incredible speed like a torpedo. Before he knew it, Paul blinked his eyes and was trapped in the hippo's jaws. He described it as slimy with an awful rotten egg stench. Somehow, Paul wrestled with the beast and managed to grab its tusks, allowing him to force his body out of the animal's mouth. However, the hippo wasn't giving up that easily. Again, it chomped down on the man, this time by his feet before spitting him back out. Paul took this slim chance to swim towards the group. Suddenly, the creature latched onto him once more and quickly pulled him under the water. One of Paul's friends was able to save him using an outstretched paddle. The group then tried to get to a hospital to treat the man's wounds as soon as possible, but it took 8 long, painful hours. Paul survived this incident after getting his left arm amputated, but sadly, his buddy that first fell into the water drowned during the chaos. Number 3. Leopard seals. You don't typically think of seals as dangerous, but you'd be surprised what these aquatic teddy bears are hiding. Leopard seals weigh over 1,300 pounds and can grow to be about 10 feet in length. They have sleek, serpentine figures that help them speed through water at over 25 miles an hour. In the past, these seals with razor-sharp smiles have fed on humans. From what we know, leopard seals have dragged humans and other prey underwater at depths of almost 200 feet in order to drown their victims before a feast. In September 2021, 3 fishermen barely survived an encounter with a leopard seal. The attack occurred while they were diving near a reef a few hundred feet offshore the False Bay in South Africa. Out of nowhere, the seal appeared and started biting the men. Luckily, they all survived, but the guys say it was a struggle as they literally fought for their lives. The creature snapped off the divers' flippers and in the chaos made them drop their spear guns. The men say that it took them almost 30 minutes to make it back to shore after the first attack. This just serves as a good cautionary tale. Always watch your back, even if you're underwater. Number 2. Komodo dragons. Contrary to some beliefs, Komodo dragons aren't actually dragons at all. They're just very large and dangerous lizards. Komodos can grow nearly 10 feet long and weigh an average of 150 pounds. The heaviest on record was 366 pounds, which is more than most people. On top of their size, these lizards carry a deadly venom in their saliva to poison their prey. They mainly live on islands in Indonesia, but are believed to have originated down under in the Australian continent. The sense of smell on these scaly creatures is deadly accurate. Apparently, they can make out the odor of prey from over 2.5 miles away. Unlike some other predators featured on our list, Komodo dragons are strict carnivores. In some recorded cases, larger members of the species have cannibalized on smaller, weaker dragons. In 2017, a Komodo dragon in Indonesia bit 50-year-old Lanli Ali when he tried interacting with it. The man was thoroughly warned to stay away from the lizards since they can be quite dangerous, but he ignored them and threw caution to the wind. The creature bit Lon on his leg before people nearby pulled him to safety. He was later taken to a medical facility in order to treat his injuries. Number 1. Cassowaries. Almost everyone knows that most modern bird species descended from dinosaurs, but cassowaries definitely look the part. At their tallest and heaviest, these birds are over 5.5 feet tall and weigh 157 pounds. They have dangerous claws on their feet that look almost as if they belong to a velociraptor. Along with this, the birds have tiny hidden claws on vestigial wings. While their ancestors were able to fly, cassowaries no longer have the ability to, but what they lack in flight, they make up for in jumping. The giant birds are able to leap 7 feet into the air and run at nearly 30 miles an hour. In April 2019, a man in Florida was killed by his own cassowary. Apparently, he fell near the bird before he was attacked. The San Diego Zoo's website says that with one swift kick, these dangerous creatures can slice into anything that tries to attack it. In this particular case, the fate of the cassowary who killed the man is unknown, but it's likely that it was either euthanized or sent to a rescue facility. What would you do if you came face to face with one of the world's most terrifying predators? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed what you saw, subscribe to see more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Bad Badger.